Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another impressive episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil guard of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And tonight, we here at Ringside Society, we've actually been around as a podcast for 3 years. Yes, as a podcast. Our actual brand is actually 9 years old. We started on January 1st, 2013. But as a podcast, we started on March 31st, 2019. Our third year anniversary is coming up, but we'll get to that another time. But what I'm trying to get at is that we've had many impressive guests. We have had people that have played football, collegiate football. We have had people that have done acting and whatnot. But our guest tonight is a man who has not only competed on AEW against tag teams the likes of Jurassic Express, Private Party, and the Gun Club, but he is also a UNC grad. That's right, UNC, go Tar Heels. That whose basketball team actually has a well-known rivalry with Duke University. Everybody, welcome to the show. A man who is not just impressive, he is remarkable. The remarkable one, Remarkable Ryan Rembrandt.
Salutations.
Ryan, thank you very much for being on the show. You've been on our radar for a long time, and we were glad we were finally able to make this happen. We've seen you doing your thing in professional wrestling, whether it's AEW, whether it's GPW, and I gotta say, we really and truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to chop it up with us regarding your wrestling career and whatnot.
Of course, thank you for having me. Thanks for considering me to be on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, like I was very happy when I saw that because I've seen you on Facebook before, and I'm like, when I saw you finally got a chance at AEW, I'm like, yeah, the brother finally got some exposure, man. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I was very happy for you, and I'm hoping that there's many more where that came from because I always like to see people work hard, especially when they invest in themselves. They go to the gym, they study the game, they watch videos and whatnot, you know, and just are willing to learn, and all that just works out. I'm very happy for when that happens for people as well.
Thank you. Thank you. That that was such an awesome thing, and it really came out of nowhere. I wasn't even scheduled to be on any of those. Actually, I was like a last minute, like, kind of slid in there. You just have to shoot your shot. The answer is always no, unless if you ask. So I just had to ask and see, and I got opportunities.
Yeah, that's a great thing that I'm very glad it happened for you. It happened for you, and I gotta say, man, I'm when I saw you, I didn't even. I mean, when I saw your Instagram, Bob, before I saw like your wrestling matches and so on, before you got AEW, I was like, wait, this guy was trained by QT Marshall and AR Fox. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, those are two of the biggest names in the state, not just in Georgia, but in professional wrestling. I'm like, in terms of like training, I'm like, because when I heard about QT, I'm like, QT is people have told me I've never heard a bad thing about QT. QT is one of people have told me he's one of the best trainers you can go to
Yeah.
if you want to get trained in professional wrestling.
1,000%. Yeah. It's
And
incredibly
then
under.
and then there's also AR Fox, who I've known for going on 10 years. Another impressive guy that I've seen in CZW, that I've also seen in Lucha Underground. And I'm like, Wow, that's a great pedigree that you actually of trainers that you've been fortunate to have assist you with your wrestling career.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, both of those guys are incredibly underrated. Those guys are phenomenal talents, each in their own different way. But both of those guys definitely deserve their flowers. They're both really good.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you, man. So I always ask, like, I like to say 98% of my of our guests. How did your fandom for wrestling start? What was the pay-per-view or the main event? Or what was that? Who was the relative that you saw watching wrestling and you got curious and your curiosity turned into, you know, excitement and fandom? How did it all start for you?
It started. It was. I was watching WCW. Like I was a really young kid, and I remember I couldn't stay up late. So whenever I'd watch wrestling, it'd only be like for the first hour at most. I wasn't allowed to watch WWF, but I would still like sneak and watch it. You know what I mean? Like I was, I'm a kid. I'm gonna sneak and watch it anyway. But WCW, I was allowed to watch, but I could only watch the first hour before bedtime. I was really young, and I remember seeing the cruiserweights. And even as a kid, I knew that I would not be 6'5". I would not be 300 pounds. I knew that I would be same in the same height and weight range as the cruiserweights. So those are the guys I kind of enjoyed watching. And I remember seeing Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio have matches. It was around like '98. I remember that, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Um, and at school, a lot of the kids would talk at the lunch table. A lot of the guys would talk, or a lot of the boys would talk about Stone Cold and The Rock and Undertaker. And I'm watching cruiserweights and WCW, so I'm not familiar with any of this, but I wanted to be, included too. So I started watching some WWF, and I just saw how cool it was too. And I was like, man, you got wrestling here, you got wrestling here. This is awesome. Like, I want to do this. And then I wanted to do it, but I thought it was kind of scary because, guys are getting slammed and hit, and there's just a lot going on. So it was maybe a few years later, and this was around like 2012, no, 2002, 2002, 2003. And I kind of, at this point, I understood what wrestling was. Like, I understood, okay, it's entertainment, guys are working together. And once I understood that, like, I wanted to do it. I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, if I'm not getting like hurt for real in my child mind, if I'm not getting hurt for real, then yeah, of course I want to be a wrestler. So that's where I started.
Oh, that's cool. I remember when you said you weren't allowed to watch WWF. I was like, yeah, that must have been the attitude. That's definitely attitude there. Trust
Oh
me.
yeah.
I was 15. Actually, no, I was 14 when the Attitude Era started, which is circa 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the crazy things that they would do and say, I'm like, thank goodness I'm a teenager, and because I started watching when I was like 6, going on 7, and I'm like, thank goodness I'm this age because I don't think I'd be able to watch it if I was that age. My mom would have probably been like, no, go pick up a book or something, or
Yeah.
no, you're not watching that. But yeah, I'm glad I was the age I was. And the same thing with, having to go to bed after the first hour of WCW. I had a cousin, and Chris, if you're watching, I'm sorry, bro. I don't think your mom's gonna see this, but thank
I can
you.
rat out your friend.
But my cousin, when my aunt went to bed, because my aunt went to bed early. She'd go to bed at 9 o'clock. So when she'd go to bed, my cousin would actually, come into the bedroom and say, "Hey, it's safe. You can come out now and go watch." And so I'd come out because he was like 8 years older than I am. So I'd come out and then I'd watch the rest of like Nitro and get to see what's going on and just be quiet and so on. So yeah, those are some fun times, man. Yeah.
It was awesome.
So why? So you were so it's funny. It's crazy how you grew up watching the cruiserweights and you end up becoming the GPW Cruiserweight Champion.
Uh, That was pretty cool, and that was something I've always wanted to be a cruiserweight champion. Um, so that was a really cool moment. I just wish we had at the time there was only maybe two or three guys in that cruiserweight weight limit at the show at GPW, and they were great. I just wish we had more. That's my only thing. I just wish we had more cruiserweights so we could do like some tags or like some multi-mans. But that was cool. That was a cool experience, and it was fun. It was my first. Was that my first? Yeah, my first independent championship.
Yeah, yeah. You beat a guy called Torque. I'm like, wow, like that must have been some opponent, man, to actually have that name Torque. Every time I think of Torque, I think of the old motorcycle movie with Ice Cube. I don't know if y'all ever saw that, but I was like, wow, that must have been some opponent, man. And you were able to get the win, and it was a 105-day reign for you. So yeah, man, that's pretty impressive, man. It's funny how things come full circle. You know, you grew up watching the cruiserweights, and you know the cruiserweight champion do his thing, and now you're in that you're in that role. You're in that um for lack of a better term title of being cruiserweight champion. So I kind of jumped the gun. What I normally ask next is, how you, of course, growing up, you're watching WCW and WB. Did you ever get to go to any of the shows growing up as a kid?
Yes, I went to. Let's see, what was my first show? My first show was SmackDown. It was a SmackDown in 2002. It was August. It was the end of August. It was the SmackDown right before SummerSlam. So that was the SummerSlam where The Rock and Brock Lesnar had their title match. I think Shawn Michaels just came back. He had the match with Triple H, the return match. It was
Yeah.
that SummerSlam. So this was the SmackDown before that. I was there. It was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I remember my older brother took me and my nephew to see it. That was the first time I saw wrestling live, and I remember, obviously I had a good time, and that was a great time period for wrestling anyway. So the show was awesome, but I remember as a kid, I remember watching the ring, and I remember looking at the turnbuckle post and imagining myself as an adult standing on the turnbuckle post as a wrestler. I remember that, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna do that, and yeah, that was my first one. And then I didn't go to many shows growing up because honestly, we just didn't have the money. Um, that was my first one. My second one was in 2006. It was also in December. No, it was in December. Yeah, 2006. Um, and I think it was like a 6-man tag. It was DX and Ric Flair versus Randy Orton, Edge, and I don't know. It was Randy Orton, Edge, and somebody else. But it was a 6-man tag. We had John Cena versus Umaga in a table match. It was that time period from Raw, if y'all remember. That was a house show. Went to that. That was a lot of fun. And then in college, I went to a Ring of Honor show. And I got to see, this was in 2013, I think. I got to see the Briscoe brothers, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander is there. Rhett Titus, like a few guys that were like really that I was a fan of. So that was really cool. But I've only been to those 3 shows in my life, which they were awesome shows.
Yeah, man. I tell you, watching Ring of Honor back, I'm glad I caught Ring of Honor when I did, because I remembered, like, I've been hearing about Ring of Honor, and you had people like Brian Danielson. You had people like, the Briscoes, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. And I would hear about these people, and I'd hear about Ring of Honor. I'm like, I gotta check out Ring of Honor one day, man. Like, I gotta see what they're about. And then this was like circa 2009 when they had the American Wolves and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have like a steady like channel or anything to watch it on. So I'd be like, okay, I guess I gotta hope one day they start showing it. And then I started seeing that they were more frequent online, and this was around the time when they had. So I went to my first show actually in 2012 when Kevin Steen and El Generico were still there,
Nice.
and I was like, wow, this is bananas, but I mean a good kind of bananas. Like this is awesome. And I saw people like Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. They were doing they'd broken up at the time, but they were still singles wrestlers. And you had people like Roderick Strong and Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like I'm definitely a fan now. And then I got to go again the next year in the summer of 2013. I think that's when the Young Bucks won the tag team titles from not the Briscoes, the Red Dragon. And I was like, man, this is they once again they didn't disappoint. And looking back at it, I'm like, man, Ring of Honor was one of those promotions that's pretty much like set the bar in terms of quality of wrestling. Yeah, that was definitely a fun time.
For sure,
So
yeah.
so now that you're a fan of professional wrestling and you're going to the shows and whatnot, how did your journey go from fan to now professional wrestler?
I think made the solid decision to be a wrestler. I think I knew I wanted to do it as a kid, but towards the end of high school, I was thinking and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do it, like for real. Like I'm not just talking about it. I will do it. And I remember my mom told me, she said, just go to college and get a degree, and then after that, do what you want, but at least have like a fallback plan. So I went to college, and while I was there, I took a couple of acting classes, and I remember we were able to have like a free gym membership as a part of attending the university. So I was able to go there, and was really lucky to get that. I'm paying for it now, but like literally. But I was lucky to have that. I remember watching the shows, and I remember just getting my mind ready, like just to start training. That's all I would think about. Like even studying for tests, I would think about, okay, so after I graduate, I could go to wrestling school now. Like I would always think about it. It would always be on my mind. And I graduated college on a Saturday, and that next Thursday, I moved to Georgia, to pursue wrestling. And I moved to Georgia, and life. So I had to work and save up money. So I bought a car in cash. Um, I had to work and save up for wrestling school, and I remember I was looking online for years at wrestling schools, and a lot of them were very expensive. A lot of them local were really expensive. But I found WWA4 in Atlanta, and it wasn't that expensive at all. It was something that was reasonable. So I worked and I saved up, and I went there. The first time I went there was in April of 2016. I went there for a couple of days, just to check it out. I fell in love with it, and then I started going consistently in September of 2016. That's when I really started training like full time, and yeah, I think the transition period was, I just had to go and I just had to jump in. So even like mentally preparing, I was like, I have to be in the best shape of my life. That's what I was thinking, because I would watch Tough Enough, like the old episodes, and I would hear like the wrestling shoot interviews about guys when they were training. They were coming up in these warehouses, and they were throwing up after drills and stuff. Like that's how intense it was. So I was like prepping myself like physically and mentally to deal with that. And luckily in this time period, it's not as intense. So I was a little over prepared in a way, which is good. Um, but yeah, I tried to get myself as mentally prepared as possible.
Yeah, but I gotta say, man, I gotta say, as we in Ghana say, or we in the West Indies say, big ups to you on getting your college, degree and whatnot, because I've been a fan of this game for 30. I'm an old man, by the way, but I've been on this. I've been a fan of this game for like 32 years now, and I've seen many people say like straight out of high school wrestling, but at the same time, and there's a certain percentage that are like, something, I want to do wrestling, but I think I'm gonna get something to fall back on first. And you see many people like, believe it or not, Happy Corbin. all three members of the New Day, especially Xavier Woods, and you
Hmm.
have people like um, I think John Morrison, and you know,
Yeah.
what was the guy? Shorty G,
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. Yes, they've all gotten their degrees. So I got to say, big ups to you on that. But I must say, UNC grad, it would be, I'm looking, and I'm not trying to instigate anything, Ryan. But it would be kind of interesting if there's a Duke University graduate that's your opponent.
That'd
I'm be like, oh snap,
be awesome.
this is gonna be interesting.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be like, yeah, this is gonna be some rivalry, man. Because it's gonna be, woof, yeah, that'll be a wrestling clinic and an intense match all in one. Yeah. So you tag teams now, man. You were in AW. What was it like wrestling? Because you already had experience, but now you're wrestling in front of, you know, thousands on, on national TV. You're being watched online on YouTube. What was it like for you? Were you nervous? Were you like, or were you like, something? I have two of the best wrestling coaches gave me the knowledge. I got this, or was it a bit of both?
It was both. I think so. The first time I was there, I wasn't supposed to be there. I messaged QT and I asked them about, because this was when the pandemic started, and so they were using a lot of guys from Nightmare Factory from Atlanta, because a lot of their talent wasn't available for travel reasons. And so I remember I texted him asking him if there were any spots open, and he told me no, there was nothing open. And then maybe about a week later, he texted me and he was like, "Hey, a spot just opened up. Bring your gear. Come down to Florida." And so I literally left like the next day to go to Florida. Um, and it threw me off because a full week went by. So at this point, I'm thinking that it's just not going to happen. Um, so that was a shock. And then I was a little bit nervous, but I was confident at the same time. Like it felt like it was cool. It was just a cool experience. Like it was too exciting to be nervous in a way. Um, so I was very excited about that. And then that was a 2-day taping I went to. So my first match was against Jurassic Express. I think that was taped on a Tuesday night, and then that Wednesday night, the Wednesday afternoon, we taped the match with Private Party. No, Wednesday night. It was late. It was like 1 in the morning. That match with Private Party happened.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
two tapings.
That's awesome that you got you got to go up against, three tag teams,
Mm-hmm.
two of which, um, one of which are actually the second generation, the sons of Billy Gunn, the Gun
Yeah,
Club. Then you got to face the now AEW World Tag Team Champions, Jurassic Express, and then of course another up and coming tag team in Private Party. So I
yeah.
was definitely, I don't me I would have been nervous. I would have been shaking. I would have been shivering all over. I'm like, I don't want to mess up. What if I don't enter the ring right? I probably would have been like all types of nerves, but I tip my hat off to you with that as well too. And not only that too, not only do you have experience in tag team wrestling, but you also in a tag team. I guess you could say short-lived tag team called the Force. Correct me if I'm wrong with the Woad, who is actually um a she's a female wrestler. She, for those of you that don't know, the Woad is one of the best to do it, and she actually wrestled. The unique thing about her, she wrestled with an iPad. So you've actually experienced an intergender tag team wrestling as well. However, I saw something. I think it was on Facebook or Instagram. You and your girlfriend are one of our alumni guests, Cassandra Golden. You guys have a tag team name. You I don't know if it was meant to be a tag team name, but it was called Remarkably Golden. I was like, wow, that's a cool name. I would definitely buy that merch. Any chance of us seeing y'all, mix it up in a tag team against another intergender tag team? Because that'd be cool. And the unique thing that would make it cool is because it's a black intergender tag team. I've never seen that before. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I've never seen that. Any chance we're gonna see that in the near future? You know, y'all mixing up with other intergender tag teams?
Oh, I hope so. That's definitely something that I definitely want to do. I'm definitely looking forward to that for sure. I think that'll be really cool. Um, and it'll just be a lot of fun. I think intergender wrestling is interesting because it always brings up a topic of discussion, and I think when done right and when it makes sense, it's really entertaining, and you can tell stories with it. And there's a lot of intergender tag teams out there, a lot, and so I'm hoping to get that ball rolling pretty soon. But yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, like 1,000%.
Yeah, yeah. Intergender wrestling. It some people like it, some people don't. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I'm from the old school. You know, when it comes like men and women shouldn't be fighting. If it's two men, fine. If it's two women, fine. But they shouldn't. You know, men and women shouldn't be going at each other. But I know that with the one the one inevitable thing in life that I've learned that will happen is change. There's no stopping it. It will happen. And I'm kind of like warming up to it. You know, Candice LeRae, seeing her do it, I'm like, okay, well, it's pretty interesting. You know, me, if I were a pro wrestler, I don't think I could ever do intergender wrestling because I'd be like, nope, I'm not gonna hit her. Nope, 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 not gonna have. I'll probably be on the ropes, just like, nope, I'm not getting off the ropes, referee. I'm not gonna hit her. You know, or I'll probably be like Norman Smiley. I don't know if you ever remember Norman Smiley. I don't know if you ever saw his matches, but he had one when he fought. I think this one girl, she was kind of bigger than him, but he was screaming, and he never hit her. Like I think she knocked herself out, and he got the pin, but all the time he was screaming. And I'm like, I'd probably be like him. I'd probably like screaming and just, scared because I don't want to hurt her, So yeah,
I mean, I think it depends on the story. I understand that for sure. I think it depends on the story, who it is, who it's going. If it's believable and it makes sense, then yeah, like I think it could be cool. Yeah, I think it just has to make sense.
yeah, definitely. So I just got like, two more questions, man, before I turn it over to Rob. I know Rob is chomping at the bit to ask you some questions as well. So my second to last question is, you know, okay, so um you've done your time as cruiserweight champion. Hopefully you'll get that belt back from cousin Shaggy, and you've been on AEW and whatnot. So who are some of your opponents that you'd like to face in the near future? Like who's on your top five? They could be from anywhere. WWE, AEW, Impact.
Oh, that's a really tough one because for me, it's man, just wherever the opportunity is. I definitely want to wrestle. I love wrestling guys like a luchador um, skill set. I love that because I'm actually, even though like I love technical wrestling and like just the showman, the performance aspect of it, like I like old school wrestling too. So like the technical showman type, that's like my thing. But I think that meshes really well with like a luchador style. So just any type of luchador that I could work with would be awesome. Definitely some technical wrestling. I know Ring of Honor just got scooped up by AEW as a second brand, I believe. Not 100%, but if that's the case, I definitely want to jump on that one day and have some fun with those guys. But yeah, nobody in particular. I'm very, I don't know. Usually guys have their list, and they talk about it, they tweet about it, and but I don't. I just want to wrestle, and I just want wherever the opportunity is, wherever the exposure's at. That's what I want. Um, yeah, and I just want to have fun. I just want to wrestle. You know.
Yeah, 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 and honestly, I hope you get to rest like a lot of you know a lot more people in the song. I hope you get more opportunities at AEW. Um, Ring of Honor. I'm really and truly hoping that they get kept as a brand. I hope Tony Khan, and I'm praying he does not dissolve Ring of Honor. Like that would be really bad. Like I hope he doesn't Vince McMahon it, because Vince
I don't think
McMahon Vince McMahon dissolving WCW was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. I don't care what anybody says. Had he kept WCW, it pretty much would have been better for him. But I guess he knows what's best for his company, and he's gonna do what's best for his company. But I hope Tony Khan considers just keeping Ring of Honor open, and just if he can't get those people back that were released from their contracts, I hope he considers getting some of the people that were on AEW Dark, like yourself, Cassandra Golden, and even some of the more regulars like Sky Blue, who I'm surprised has not been officially signed yet, and many others, because I the fan in me, and I'm one of these weird fans. I'm like, whenever a promotion closes, I feel for the wrestlers because somebody lost their job, somebody just lost an opportunity to pay their bills, to pay their rent, mortgage, feed their families, etc. And it's always, unless that promotion owner is a crummy person or a crappy person, I don't like to see promotions close because it's less options for us wrestling fans to watch as well. So I'm really hoping that he keeps Ring of Honor, as it is, and just let it be its own separate entity. But my last question before I turn over to Rob. So, what are some songs that what are some artists that you like to listen to when you're in the gym knocking out some workouts, or when you're getting ready for a match to get ready to get into that zone to face your opponent?
Uh, it that varies. So when I'm in the gym, I like a lot of stuff from like the late '90s, early mid 2000s, just to really get me going. I love like 50 Cent, Eminem, Jay-Z, guys like that. The Game, like
Okay.
that kind of like aggressive type music in the gym, because it just kind of gets me like also feeling aggressive, so I could just go out there and just work out. For wrestling before shows, I don't really listen to music. I just kind of like silence. I kind of just like stay in my own thoughts in a way. Um, I kind of just like clear my mind. I don't really like think about songs or anything. I just kind of just try to go into it with like a blank slate. I just kind of like, knowing what I need to do, knowing like what the crowd is like, knowing what to expect, and just kind of just taking everything else off my mind. So like with music and stuff, I don't listen to music before matches.
Okay.
I try to make it as silent as possible in my head.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing like late '90s, mid 2000s hip hop, man. It's just a vibe. Rob over there knows what I'm talking about too, because he's always blasting something DMX or haven't heard him play any Eminem though. I don't know why, but yeah, I heard him play stuff from like 50 Cent and all that. So
Oh, I
yeah.
also like early mid 2000s rock music too, alternative, late '90s especially. Like I like a lot of grunge, like
Evanescence.
Nirvana, Pearl Jam, like that stuff. Kind of it depends on my mood really. So if I'm in a hip hop mood, yeah, 50 Cent, Eminem. If I'm in like a rock mood, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, something like that, like 90s ish, the grunge. And I
Okay.
think a lot of that is just connected to nostalgia because that's around the time period I started watching wrestling, and it's just all interconnected in my own brain. So it it makes me feel good.
Oh man, you mentioned Pearl Jam. I'll never forget. They have the saddest, possibly one of the saddest rock songs. What I'd say one of, if not the saddest rock songs I've ever heard. It was called Last Kiss. And I'm like, wow. I mean, granted, it was a remake, but the way Eddie Vedder's like put it, you could tell Eddie Vedder put his whole heart and soul, and you could feel the pain in it. I was like, man, that's wait, Eddie Vedder's the lead singer for that group, right? Yeah, yeah, you could, yeah, yeah, you could definitely feel like the emotion in that song, man. Yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it to Rob. Kind of Rob asked some questions. Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, man? How's everything going today?
Hey, good. Everything's great. Good to see you.
That's awesome, man. How was your day, man? Anything exciting happen? Anything wild? Or just a normal day?
Actually, it was just a pretty average day, honestly. Can't complain. Just regular day, honestly.
That's cool. So have you been, watching the NCAA tournament, trying to keep up with that? Have you filled out a bracket?
No, all right. So this year is different. So I didn't fill. Normally, I fill out a bracket every year.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't do it this year. I saw Carolina won, so that was great. Or they're winning. They're winning by a large margin. Last time I checked. Um, but I haven't filled out a bracket in a couple of years because every time I do, it gets and after like it's bad. Like my bracket gets busted so easily. So I didn't do it this year.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I did one. Yeah, it's just gift card, and if you win, you get a gift card, to like a Wawa or something. I was like, oh, I'll do that. It's something cool. But yeah, earlier I was at the casino trying to bet on games. I was like, yeah, you know what? My Fighting Blue Hens, the University of Delaware, they're playing Villanova tomorrow. I was like, you know what? Let me put $5 on this game because they're like a 1,000 underdog or whatever, man. They'll turn like, it's like I think a couple hundred or whatever. I was like, if they got 4% chance to win, I'm not expecting nothing, but yeah, let's see. I'll
I
get
mean,
the
it's
faith
smart,
in.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they win, I'm like, hey, man, that was smart. But if not, it's like, it was $5, man. It'd be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
So I was, doing some research, man, and you come out dressed in the robe, styling and profiling, man. And I love the reason that you give for wearing a robe, man. For those, that don't know yet, what's that reason you wear the robe, for wearing the robe, man? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So I think I put it. I tweeted about it. I'm terrible with social media, by the way. That's something I need to get better at. I'm horrible at it. But I posted just a compilation of me with my robe on, and it's just like when you have a gift, you don't just give the gift just open. You got to wrap it up, make it look nice and presentable, make it look great, so people want to know. They see that gift like under the Christmas tree. You look, your eyes automatically go towards what's like the nicest looking gift, what's like the coolest wrapping paper, what's like what kind of package is that. I want to know what's in that gift. And so with the robe, it's like that. It's like a presentation. It's like I'm unveiling a gift, and in my gimmick, my character is to give the gift of professional wrestling, to bring class and um, dignity to professional wrestling, to try to uphold the old school values while still staying relevant in the new school climate. So that's why I like the robe, and actually, to contrary belief, a lot of people think the robe is because of Ric Flair, and it is not. I think Ric Flair is cool, but I like um, I like Rick Rude a lot. Ravishing Rick Rude is somebody who I like, and
Okay.
if you think about it, you can kind of connect the dots there. I liked him wearing a robe, and Tully Blanchard used to wear a robe when he used to wrestle in Texas, and I love like old wrestling, so I'll like go back and watch stuff on YouTube or around the network, and I remember seeing Tully Blanchard come out in a robe, and I thought it was just cool. It just added a lot to him, and I didn't see him with a robe before. I always knew him with like the Four Horsemen teaming up with Arn. That's it. Never saw him as a singles competitor with a robe, and I thought that was cool and stood out. And so that's what made me want to get a robe, and it's one of the best decisions I made. It helps me stand out too.
Oh yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah, it's awesome. And not only that, man, I was watching some of your matches, man. You also do the slingshot suplex, sometimes and stuff, and you also got some crisp Northern Light suplexes and all. I'm like, oh man, how often do you practice those, man? Just like, oh man, they look pretty crisp, man. They look nice.
Yeah, I actually it's crazy. When I first started training, I was kind of afraid to do a Northern Lights because I was always afraid I would like land on my head, because the way you bridge, it's I didn't want to hit my head, and so I was with AR Fox, and he was showing us how to do it, and so he showed me how to do it, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you got it." So I went, I hooked the guy, and I did it, and I did a lot of yoga and stuff growing up. Like in college, we had like yoga in the morning, and I wanted to be flexible for wrestling too. So I did that for a couple of years, like with the back arches and stuff. So when I hit the Northern Lights, like my head didn't touch. My neck was safe, but I also had this really nice bridge,
Mhm.
and everybody in training that day saw it, and they were like, "Whoa, like, is that your first time doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, keep that." And so, ever since then, I just kept it, and that was definitely one of my go-tos that I use.
Uh,
But yeah, I was definitely afraid of giving it at first because I didn't want to land on my own head.
yeah, yeah, that thing was looking nice too. You also got to
Thank
move, man. It's the slingshot. Oh, I wrote it down. Slingshot, single leg crab. And then you switch it up to an STF. I had to write it down because I would forget all of it. That yeah, that looks nice too. I like that spot too, man. How'd you come up with that? And is that your finisher or whatever? You know, when you hit it and you're like, yeah, you're over. Once I get that, you're done.
No, not a finisher. But it's something. I actually saw it. I was watching the Mae Young Classic. I think it was the second one. It was the one with Miko Satomura.
Mhm.
She's the NXT UK Women's Champ right now. Um, and it was one of those things. I saw her do it. In one of her matches, and I was thinking like, man, that was cool. Like that was crisp. But with wrestlers, like if I do, like for example, if I do a figure 4 leg lock,
Mhm.
right, already wearing the robe, already from North Carolina, people are gonna see it and be like, oh, Ric Flair, If I do
Yeah.
a stunner, oh, Stone Cold.
Mhm.
But if I do this, nobody's gonna think about me and Miko Satomura. Like that won't cross
Yeah.
anybody's mind. So I was like, okay, I could use this, and it looks unique and it looks like it's mine, but it's not. So it
Mhm.
helps me stand out a little bit. Um, I like how you use leverage. Like it's kind of like a cool move because you springboard. But it's like I use leverage, so I could do it on anybody, any size. They whip me to the corner, I jump up, and next thing you know, we just roll, and I've got the leg in my arms already. I could just turn over, I get the crab, I could work that. If I want to be more technical, I could just slide into an STF, and it just looks so impressive. So when I wrestle in front of crowds, like a lot of indie crowds, they appreciate that a lot because a lot of indie crowds love like the technical wrestling, and like that's the thing now. That's what's hot. They also love the high risk. So I don't do a lot of high risk, but that springboard adds a little bit. So it
Mhm.
shows some athleticism, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I could add some athleticism, some technical ability, and it's something that's so smooth that people, when they first see it, like a lot of people, because a lot of people don't watch like the Mae Young Classic or anything. Like nobody just off the top of their head is going to think about that.
Mhm.
So to a lot of fans, it's new and it's fresh. So I think it works out.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that too, man. Yeah, I never thought of that too. And it's like you're saying, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I remember that. Oh man, yeah, that's pretty cool. Now you were also talking about, you train with AR5 to QT Marshall, and I do reffing and stuff, ring announcing and all that and stuff, and I've ran into some people in the back and stuff, trained with QT, and they've always said great things and stuff about him. They'd be like, "Yo, when you go in there, man, QT taught me I got to do this, the band, it's like that's right, QT the man, So it's like, all right. So what kind of what's some wisdom that he's imparted on you, that you're like, okay, yeah, this is I like this, is it any good wisdom or something he said to you is like, all right, kind of stuck with you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot. QT's one of those guys. He's very blunt. So he'll tell you how he's feeling, good, bad, or ugly. He'll tell you. He'll let you know how you're doing, which I appreciate that because it helps me see the holes that I have and things that I can improve on. Some things that he's taught me, it's about the little things, like the footwork, the facial expressions, the positioning in the ring, like little things. Because a lot of times wrestlers, we want to focus on like the move or like a pose or something, but it's like the footwork and the timing and pacing yourself is very important too, just body language. And those are some things that I've taken from him. It's cool. He's so underrated, I think. And I remember seeing him in Ring of Honor when he was God's gift to wrestling. He had that gimmick. He also came out in a robe, um, which was cool. But even on AEW, watching him wrestle, like sometimes I'll watch his matches like on Dark or Elevation, where he goes back and forth with some guys, and that's like tape study. Because anytime I watch him, it's like I learn something new. Just he's always in the right spots. He makes his opponent look great. and the stuff he does looks great too. So he's definitely an underrated talent, but just the little things, focusing on the little things is probably the biggest thing I've learned from him.
So yeah, training, yeah. I can imagine training under him. I bet it'd be awesome. You know what I mean? Because I was at training last night, and it was I was doing rest stuff with all the beginners class, and yeah, they were talking about all that, stuff, the little stuff. Yeah, like you say, everybody's focused on, yeah, can I do a Canadian destroyer? Yeah, let me do this Panama Sunrise, something. It's like, yeah, now establish in the beginning, who's heel, who's babyface, sometimes they don't know, so you gotta, do that. It's like, all right, cool, yeah, yeah. Talking, to younger guys, they do a little band thing, like white band beginner all the way up to like, red or black, whatever, So yeah, it works at the band level. So yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I like hearing about
Yes.
that. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of all that, when is your next show? Do you have anything coming up this weekend or next weekend or anything? Do you have a book
Yes,
coming up soon?
I do. I have a show this Saturday. You guys are familiar with Shane Taylor Promotions from Ring of
Oh yeah.
I've
Honor?
heard of it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Shane Taylor, O'Shea Edwards, Khan was on Ring AEW recently. Him and Moses. I'm wrestling Moses on Saturday. He's a part of Shane Taylor Promotions. Um, he's in Ring of Honor, and yeah, we've got a match Saturday night, so I'm looking forward to that one. That's
Ryan,
what's coming up soon, and I'm trying to think. That's my most the closest match to me.
did you mention as in O'Shea Edwards as in the big bad kaiju?
Yeah, he's somebody who's really cool. I've learned a lot from him. Yeah.
Dude is no joke. I've seen dude like in person, and actually was last December for We Are Wrestling in Ridgefield, New Jersey. I saw him wrestle a guy. I don't know if you ever met this guy, Dan Mack, Bayonne badass,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that was a hard hitting match. I'm like, whew, that yeah, that sounds like a great card right there. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I've learned a lot from him too, actually. Just picking his brain, he's very intelligent.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, Moses. Yeah, he's coming next weekend. He's going to be over at 1CW. Maybe I might be refing. I don't know if I'm refing what I'm doing that show, but hopefully I can ref a match with him. I think he's wrestling Mr. Grimm. I think they're doing that. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man. Get to meet him, chat with him, maybe pick his brain a little bit, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta ask, traveling all around, doing the wrestling thing, man. Do you have any, crazy stories, that's happened? Like maybe you've run across Sasquatch, come across, in them late nights in them woods or something, or like the Jersey Devil or Chupacabra or something, man. Has anything crazy happen, or everything been pretty chill, calm, and cool?
Let me think. For the most part, it's been chill, but I got caught in a snowstorm last year. It was last
Ooh.
January. Actually, I got caught in 2 snowstorms last year. Um, One was in January, and mind you, I'm raised in North Carolina. I live in Atlanta, Georgia now, so I'm not used to driving in snow. When it's snowing outside, I stay inside. Like I don't get on the roads. But I was booked on the show in Ohio. It was January 2020, I think, or 2021. 2021, yeah. So last year. Um, Driving up to the show, perfect. No what like weather was not like it was sunny. It was nice, perfect. Driving back from the show, we saw a couple of flurries, and this is Ohio, the Midwest, and then boom, blizzard, and just the highways were covered in ice and snow. You couldn't see the lanes, um, and this is at night. It was after the show. We're driving back, um, and it's like one of those things where my windshield wipers don't do anything because the snow is coming down so hard. It's like what's that old school arcade game where it's like you're in space and you have to like shoot the little meteoroids when they coming towards you and there's like a lot,
Asteroids.
something like that. Yeah, it looked
Asteroids.
like that, but it was just
Ooh.
like a lot of snow. It was just boom coming at you, and like there's nothing you could do, and you can't see the lanes. I saw accidents happen in real time.
Mm.
Um, that was scary. So Ohio is about 8 hours away from Atlanta. It took us about oh man, it took us about 12, I think,
Ooh.
to get back. because it was just we almost got in a wreck. We almost rear-ended somebody. Luckily, I was able to swerve and maneuver myself, but that was scary, and that was in the middle of the night. First time driving in snow and ice. Um, let's see what else happened. There one time, this was in 2019, I believe. There was about 16 of us, and we got into this big van, and we drove to Texas for a show. Um, and you have 16 wrestlers from all different walks of life. We're all relatively new. I think it was like my first year in, and a lot of us it was our first years in. So you have all these wrestlers in this one confined space, and between Georgia to I think we're outside of Dallas. So we went. It was about a 15-hour drive one way, and so you could just imagine all those personalities in one van. That was definitely an interesting experience. Just a lot of people's heads were clashing, and it wasn't very fun. But it happens. But other than that, no, it's been smooth sailing. I haven't had any crazy-ish moments happen yet. That was probably the most
That's cool.
crazy.
That's cool. So when you're not wrestling stuff, I heard you're a teacher. Is that true? You're
Yes, I'm
molding
a
young
school
minds.
teacher. Yeah,
Now,
I teach
now,
kindergarten this year.
oh, kindergarten.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was going to ask. I was like, do your students know you wrestle or whatever? But I guess kindergarten is like, some might, I guess at that
No,
age.
I haven't told anybody. Last year I taught fourth grade, and even then, like, no, like not even administration staff. None of them know I wrestle. Um,
Oh, okay.
because it's
Never
one of
mind.
those things. I don't know how it's gonna be taken. So if I mention I wrestle, it could go one of two ways. It could either go, "Oh, that's awesome. Kids love that stuff. That's great," or it could go, "Oh no, that's attitude. That's like stone cold and people bleeding and women naked. We don't want that. Like you can't work." You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I got you.
I'm not risking that. So I just keep it to myself.
My bad. Hey, I didn't mean to bring that up. Hey, here's my Men in Black
No,
thing.
it's
Me
cool.
looking here. You just
It's
forgot the
all
last
good.
5 seconds.
Nobody. Luckily, none of my coworkers have me on social media, so it's none of them know. They won't
All right,
want to know.
all right. That's cool. That's cool. Now I do gotta ask, man. Are there any when you're just hanging out, relaxing, man? Are there any new TV shows and movies you're into right now? Like, my sister got me into Survivor, man. I don't know how it took me that long to get into that show, but she got me into that. That's pretty good. I've seen the new Spider-Man, Batman stuff, but are there anything you're trying you're into? Because I'm always trying to branch out, and find something new.
Oh yeah, for sure. I haven't seen the new Batman yet. That's definitely on my list. I got to see that. I'm a huge '90s guy. I love '90s stuff. So like, I watch anything from '90s sitcoms, like Fresh Prince, that '70s show, stuff like old stuff that I've already seen. I like watching stuff
Yeah.
like that. Keenan and Kel. Like like a lot of old school '90s stuff that I used to watch. I don't really watch anything too modern outside of wrestling. I try to keep up, but there's so much going on. I just really haven't had time. Um, but yeah, I like a lot of old stuff. I'm all about nostalgia. I don't know. It just makes me feel good. You know, that's just what I like.
Yeah, that's how I am. It's like that comfort show, I can just throw it on. I can go like do housework, do whatever. It's just on. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It's like one of them things. But yeah. Before I pass it on back to Remy, I do want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, coming on chat with us.
Of
I had a
course.
blast chatting with you. I wish you nothing but the best in your career and all that stuff. I hope you start traveling the world. Winning gold everywhere you go, man. Just tearing it up, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Ryan, it's been an honor to have the Rembrandt of professional wrestling on our show. We really and truly are grateful. We're not just saying this that you're in front of because you're in front of us. No, we really and truly are grateful, and we really truly hope that there's many more opportunities for you in professional wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE or Impact. Hope many more come your way as well.
Thank you.
And like I said, hopefully maybe we can have you and Cassandra come back on here, have the remarkably golden interview. You know, once y'all start, kicking butt and taking names, all these professional wrestling. We're calling first dibs, man. I mean,
Okay.
we want that remarkably golden interview. When y'all start, when y'all make y'all debut, I'll be like, hey, sign us up.
We gotta bring that. We gotta bring what was it? Cane's chicken? Is it Cane's chicken or Church's chicken?
So we had Cassandra on here.
Raising Cane's. I think it was
Oh,
it.
she
Yeah,
loves that place. She
Yeah,
yeah,
we
Raising Cane's.
Yeah, we had her on here like I think it was not last year, but the year before our second season when we were on Blog Talk, and yeah, they were talking about raising. I've never had raising canes. I don't know. I've it's something I
I had
gotta
it
try.
once. It's actually pretty good.
I have had Bojangles. Right? I was stationed in I don't know if you're familiar with this small town, Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yes.
I was stationed there for like 2 years. It's a nice little sleepy town, but if you're like a city boy, I wouldn't, or a city person, I wouldn't recommend it. You would be like, for the first bus or the first or you'll probably take a lot of trips to like Wilmington or Raleigh, which is pretty nice. But I've had Bojangles. I've had
Yes.
Bojangles
Bojangles is
there.
awesome.
I've had the somebody gave me, I think it was the blueberry scone, and that was like heaven. That was like heaven right there. But yeah, Bojangles is pretty good.
Yeah, Bojangles is my favorite, man. I would say.
Yeah.
It's biased though, North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a great state, I must say. I've been to Charlotte, been to Raleigh, been to Wilmington.
Yes. Have you
Had
been
some-
stationed in Fort Bragg?
I have not, but I've heard of Fort Bragg.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm from, Fayetteville, Fort Bragg.
Yeah, that's an army base. There's an army base there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where I was in Camp Lejeune, the Marine Corps base, but I was Navy, so I was working at the hospital over there.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
But I must say this. I like Raleigh because Raleigh has one of my favorite spots. I don't know if you're familiar with Raleigh, like, but they
A
have a
little
place
bit.
called, I think it's on Davie Lane. There's a place called the Pit, and the reason I like the Pit is because not only do they have some of the best barbecue, but right next door is an arcade and bar. So if you're a retro gamer, if you love retro gaming, that's like heaven right there.
Oh, that
So
sounds awesome.
yeah, so I've went there many a times and enjoyed myself before the pandemic started. But yeah, I gotta say, man, thank you. Really and truly appreciate you taking time out, to shoot the breeze about wrestling, and your career with us and so on. Before we let you go, where can fans find you on social media when they want to, find out when your next appearances, purchase Ryan Rembrandt merchandise, and also where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
Okay, I'm on social media, and I promise, I'm going to use social media more because I'm terrible at it. But Instagram and Twitter, it's at Ryan_Rembrandt. Facebook, Ryan Rembrandt. Um, yeah, so I'll be there. That's where you can find me. If you want my merch, I've got pro wrestling tees. You just type in Ryan Rembrandt. You'll see some shirts pop up. I'm also working on getting a What a Maneuver. I'm working on getting a store opened up there too. But yeah, that's where you can get my merch right now. And I've got a couple of designs out there. I've got one newish one that was made a couple months ago that I'm really happy with as new design of a shirt. Looks really cool. And I'm looking to add some more stuff there in the future.
Awesome. So y'all definitely make sure y'all give this man a follow. He's a remarkable man, not just in the ring, but he's doing big things. College graduate, he has his merch out there. Make sure you go ahead and cop his merch and whatnot. If you can't make his shows, that's the other way that you actually support indie wrestling is purchasing the merchandise, 8x10s, etc., etc. Support indie wrestling. That's where most of your AEW, WWE superstars and Impact superstars come from. If you don't, I keep telling you, I'm gonna let Rob come to your house and eat out all your food. You're gonna find a skip up in your pots and pans, and you gotta skip that meal. You're gonna be in your fridge like Craig on Friday, eating all the fried chicken and all the fried rice you got in there, and you're gonna be heartbroken. Support indie wrestling, man. We're serious about it. And you see how he's skinny too. Yeah, he'll make it happen like a captain. But With that being said, Ryan, once again, thank you very much. We're very grateful. We're always grateful for
Thank
all
you.
our guests. And also, if nobody has told you before, you're hearing it first from us. And if somebody has thanked you before, well, you're probably going to hear it, from us for the meantime. Thank you for all the matches that you've given us and all the great work that you're doing and that you keep on giving us as well. And with that being said, it is about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting a bit heavy and my stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for a nap and a snack. Well, maybe not in that order, but who knows? But before I do that, Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Sean Spencer to my Burton Guster, and the Charlie. No, Charlie. She didn't have a side. Oh, the Tommy to my Ghost. I keep forgetting that part. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, find out where your next appearance is, purchase Rob Bass merchandise? And where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, Rob_base82, and Facebook, YouTube, Rob Base. And then on March 26th, you can catch me 1CW/CCW. We have a show going on. It's on DelmarvaSportsNetwork.com. It's on every Saturday at 10 a.m. And at 11 a.m. when it's over, it's on demand. So you can catch it if you miss it. You can catch it back on. And plus on that show, we got big cast coming up there. What Cast XL now. Moses, our guest tonight. He's wrestling against him this weekend. He's going to come up, to Delaware. Then he's going to wrestle. You got Bad Banks, Miles Millennium, all that. Willow Nightingale's going to be there. The Renegade Twins, Cat Spencer, all of them going there, tearing the place down. So yeah, if you can't get tickets to there, check us out, DelmarvaSportsNetwork.com.
Awesome. Yes, I'll definitely check them out as well. And also, I'm a piggyback on top of that. Our special guest for this Sunday is gonna be none other than Rob Bass himself. So you'll be seeing Rob Bass as our main guest, not as my co-host this Sunday. We're gonna talk about his wrestling career. But with that being said, if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything cool to say, but who knows, maybe you get lucky. You can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. And our podcast is also on social media. We're on Facebook, Ringside Society, that's our group. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society. We're on Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Blog Talk still, and we're also on Spotify, and we are also on YouTube. Yes, which is where we stream a lot of our episodes. So go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society, and once you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we have a lot of cool stuff to check out, like this interview, like our interview with Katie Hebner, with Diamond Sheik, Catalina Garcia, Roxy Boricua, and many other people. So make sure you check those out as well. And also make sure you look out for our other stuff because we got a lot more cool stuff coming as well too. So trust me, you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody to tune in tonight live. I forgot. We also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have sweaters, we have hoodies, we also have tank tops for the summer that's coming up. We also have regular T-shirts, and we have several different designs. Check us out, cop some merch. All proceeds go back into keeping our show afloat. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody to tune in live tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. We are very grateful. We know we're not the best, but we try to be one of the best that brings you content like this. To those of you all that are going to listen to us later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we would just go away. Well, like myself at a Golden Corral and Rob Bass at a Taco Festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. But with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society are very well and aware, and we see that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. Well, we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the Rembrandt of professional wrestling. the remarkable one, UNC grad, go Tar Heels, Remarkable Ryan Rembrandt.
Woo!
What type of podcast
Thank
are
you.
we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
It's a
That's right,
remarkable
Wrestling
podcast.
Fans Podcast. You're welcome, Ryan. And with that being said, we will be back this Saturday with another impressive guest. But until then, we just want y'all to do four, and we mean four favors for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.